Did you ever think Shrek, Madagascar, or even B-Movie were just fun animated films? Think again. Because hidden beneath the laughs and catchy songs are some of the darkest, most unsettling theories that will completely change how you see DreamWorks movies. What if I told you that Fiona's secret diet could make even the bravest knights shudder? Or that How to Train Your Dragon might be connected to one of the most legendary bloodlines in TV history? And just when you think it can't get any weirder, we're diving into the shocking truth about Donkey's past, the penguin's mysterious government experiment, and a B-movie theory that makes Barry B. Benson's relationship even stranger than you thought. Let's start with a theory that might ruin your childhood. Fiona spent years locked away in a tower, surrounded by nothing but stone walls and a fire-breathing dragon. But here's the question nobody ever asks. What did she eat? There's no kitchen, no food deliveries, no sign of anyone else entering the castle. And yet, Fiona is perfectly healthy when Shrek finds her. So, what's been keeping her alive? At first, you might assume the dragon fed her. But the real question is, fed her what? And that's where things take a dark turn. When Shrek and Donkey enter the castle, they pass a giant bubbling cauldron and a cookbook titled Night Treats. Now, why would a dragon need a cookbook? Unless it was preparing meals for someone. And here's the worst part. The first recipe calls for one deboned knight. Think about it. The castle is littered with the remains of fallen warriors. The same ones who tried to rescue Fiona before Shrek. You'd assume the dragon ate them, right? But what if she was actually saving them? For Fiona? Fiona's curse turns her into an ogre at night. And if we're following ogre logic, they're known for their terrifying appetites. What if, every night, Fiona unknowingly feasted on the remains of fallen knights, only to wake up human again with no memory of what she had done? And when Shrek finally saves her, he has no idea he just rescued someone with a past way darker than he ever imagined. But if that theory made you uneasy, just wait until you hear this next one. Because Fiona might not be the only ogre with a dark past. Here's something you might not have noticed. Throughout the first 3 Shrek movies, Shrek is one of the only ogres left. Where did the rest of them go? At first, the answer seems obvious. In Shrek 2, we learn that humans fear ogres and probably hunted them to near extinction. But this theory suggests something much worse. What if Shrek is the reason ogres disappeared? In Shrek Forever After, when Shrek wishes he was never born, he's transported to an alternate timeline where ogres still exist. And not just a few, an entire underground resistance army. That means in the main timeline, something wiped them out. And here's where it gets disturbing. In Shrek 2, Shrek casually mentions that his own father tried to eat him as a child. So what if some ogres did eat each other? And remember those pickled eyeballs Shrek snacks on? We assume they came from animals, but we never actually get confirmation. Could they be the last remains of his own kind? Of course, it's all just speculation. But then again, wouldn't that explain why Shrek is one of the last ogres left? But if that's true, then we have to ask, what other DreamWorks characters have a dark hidden past? And that brings us to the next theory, a shocking Game of Thrones connection that you won't believe. Imagine for a second that How to Train Your Dragon is more than just an animated fantasy. What if I told you Hiccup's descendants might have become one of the most legendary families in all of Westeros? That's right. Some fans believe that Hiccup and Astrid are actually the ancestors of House Targaryen. At first, it sounds crazy, but look at the evidence. The Vikings of Berk are one of the only known civilizations that ride dragons. Their home, Berk, is far west of any known land, just like the unexplored lands west of Westeros. Astrid has blonde hair, a trait that could have carried down through their bloodline. And here's where it gets even wilder. In House of the Dragon, the show's director actually admitted that he took inspiration from How to Train Your Dragon when designing the way Targaryens ride dragons. Could this be more than just coincidence? Could Hiccup and Astrid have escaped a great disaster, eventually settling in Westeros as the first Targaryens? It's a long shot, but just imagine how much that would change everything we thought we knew. But if that theory wasn't dark enough, let's talk about a group of highly intelligent penguins. That might have been part of a secret government experiment. You ever wonder why the penguins in Madagascar are so unnaturally smart? Unlike every other animal, Skipper and his crew can build machines, understand human technology, and even pull off military-level operations. How? Well, one theory suggests they were never just normal penguins to begin with. Instead, they may have been government test subjects, experimented on to create a species of hyper-intelligent animal soldiers. And there's actually some hidden proof in the first Madagascar movie. When Private is trying to crack a ship's control code, there's a brief frame of scrambled text on the screen. But if you pause at the right moment, you'll see a hidden message that reads, "What a piece of work is Penguin." That's a direct reference to Shakespeare's Hamlet, where the line, "What a piece of work is man," reflects on the complexity of human nature. Coincidence? Maybe. But considering how unnatural the penguins act, it might just confirm that they were part of a terrifying secret experiment all along. And if that's true, what else might DreamWorks be hiding? You've probably never questioned where Donkey actually came from. Unlike every other talking creature in Shrek, Donkey has no obvious fairy tale origin. But what if I told you he used to be human? That's right. Some fans believe Donkey was once a regular boy. And not just any boy, but one of the kids from Pinocchio's Pleasure Island. Think back to the classic tale. Pleasure Island was a place where misbehaving kids transformed into donkeys, trapped in animal bodies forever. Now, let's break down the clues. Donkey remembers wearing clothes. In Shrek 2, he talks about getting wedgies as a kid. But why would a normal donkey ever have worn pants? He immediately bonds with Pinocchio, as if they have something in common. Unlike other animals in Shrek, Donkey can talk and think like a human. And if this theory is true, it adds a pretty dark backstory to his character. Donkey wasn't cursed or born this way. He was a child, stolen from his past life, forced to live out his days as a talking donkey. But hey, at least he's making the best of it. Still, if you thought that was depressing, just wait until you hear how trolls may have accidentally doomed their entire species. In Trollz, the story ends on a happy note. The trolls convince the Bergens to stop eating them, finally ending years of fear and oppression. But here's the problem. What if this happy ending actually caused a massive disaster? See, in nature, predators play a crucial role in controlling populations. Without predators, prey species can overpopulate, leading to starvation, resource depletion, and eventual collapse. And that's exactly what could happen to the trolls. Before, the Bergens kept their numbers in check. But with no natural predators left, the trolls would multiply out of control. Think about it. Trolls don't seem to have any real jobs or survival skills. They spend their entire lives partying and singing. So what happens when there are too many of them and not enough resources? This theory suggests that Poppy didn't save the trolls. She may have doomed them to a fate even worse than being eaten. And honestly, that's way darker than anything I expected from trolls. But if you thought that was unsettling, wait until you hear about Megamind's weirdest, most uncomfortable secret. So, we all know Megamind is hopelessly in love with reporter Roxanne Ritchie. But what if I told you that there's a reason he was always drawn to her, and it's not what you think? Some fans believe Roxanne looks eerily similar to Megamind's own mother. And, before you freak out, let me explain. Studies have shown that people are often subconsciously attracted to partners who remind them of familiar figures, including their parents. Now, let's look at the evidence. Megamind never knew his mother, but he vividly remembers her face from his childhood. Roxanne shares similar facial features and even a similar hairstyle. Megamind's attraction to her is instant and intense, almost as if his brain already recognizes her. Is it a coincidence? Maybe. But if this theory is true, it means Megamind's obsession with Roxanne might not be romantic at all. It could be his brain desperately trying to recreate the only parental bond he ever had. Which is honestly kind of disturbing. But speaking of things that make no sense, have you ever noticed something off about Barry B. Benson in Bee Movie? Because this next theory suggests that Barry isn't just different from the other bees, he might be something else entirely. There's something weird about Barry B. Benson. No, not the fact that he flirts with a human woman. I'm talking about his eyes. See, every other bee in the hive has brown eyes. But Barry and his father, bright blue. And here's where things get really strange. In genetics, blue eyes are a rare mutation. If the entire hive has brown eyes, that means somewhere down the line, Barry's family had a different genetic influence. So where did that come from? Some fans believe Barry's father may have had some, let's say, outside genetic influence. Meaning, Barry's weird, rebellious personality isn't just because he's different. It's because he might not be a pure bee at all. Could there be some human DNA in there somewhere? Honestly, at this point, nothing in Bee Movie would surprise me. And after hearing all of these theories, you have to wonder, how many of them might actually be true? So there you have it, the darkest DreamWorks theories that completely change how you see these movies. From Fiona's nightmarish diet to Donkey's tragic past, to the trolls possibly dooming themselves, these theories are wild, but they also make a disturbing amount of sense. Which theory do you think is the most convincing? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more mind-blowing theories like these, make sure to subscribe, because trust me, we're just scratching the surface. After all, if DreamWorks is hiding this many dark secrets, what might be lurking in the movies you grew up with?